everyone, and welcome to our 2015 Minnesota Vikings Draft Recap. I'm Tom Moore from BikeFans.com, and for the second consecutive season, we're thrilled to have Minnesota Vikings General Manager Rick Spielman join us to talk about some of the recent roster additions to the team. Rick, welcome back to the long ship at BikeFans.com.
Well, thanks for having me on.
Well, once you moved to round 2, you selected a middle linebacker who many think had first-round talent, and that was Kendricks out of UCLA. What were the key things you saw in him to make you believe he was the answer in the middle for the Vikings, maybe long-term?
Well, we thought he was the most instinctive linebacker in the draft. He has great range from sideline to sideline. He's not small, but he's not overly big, but he has a unique ability to get underneath the offensive lineman's pads to separate and locate the ball. The other thing is that he is very good in pass coverage. You can do multiple things with him, in our pass coverage scheme. And we really noticed them, and I did notice them as long as in our scouts is last year when we were scouting Anthony Barr, and then this number 6 kept popping up on the tape, and who in the heck is that? And we looked, oh yeah, he's a junior linebacker that will be coming out next year, and his brother's playing for Philadelphia right now. Mm-hmm. So that was another situation in the second round where we did, receive some calls about teams trying to trade up into that spot, but that player and the same thing with Trey Waynes, those were two players that I didn't think were worth trading out of just because how we feel about them potentially coming in and help our defense.
It's interesting. You mentioned his size. He's about 6 foot 235 from what I've seen. And, that's not prototypical middle linebacker size, but I'm wondering, is the expectation for him to get heavier to handle a 16-game NFL schedule, or is his quickness more the key in Mike Zimmer's defense?
I think it's the quickness and the athletic traits, but he does play strong for his size. Sometimes when you're a 6'1" linebacker, you have some natural leverage built into you. And I think, all these young guys, as they come in, they'll be coming in this weekend for our rookie mini camp. And that'll be the evaluation process. We'll see how far they're along or how far they have to come. And then that process will go through this off season and into training camp. And the coaches will determine when these guys are ready to play.
Yeah, it's interesting because as you went along the draft, you after drafted 3 offensive tackles, and T.J. Clemmings is widely reported again as one of those first-round talents. If it hadn't been for a foot stress fracture, it was discovered before the draft. The fans, what they're wondering about is if any of these players who are tackles right now might be tried at left guard.
And when we took T.J. Clemmings, the foot fracture, that was discovered at the combine. But when we went back and we talked to our medical people, he never missed a day of practice at Pitt, never missed a game, never missed a practice at Senior Bowl, never missed the Senior Bowl game, worked out at the combine and did everything at his pro day. So I asked her, when did he do this? And I don't think there's a definitive answer. If he did it in high school and has been playing with it all along, was it new? And we didn't think it was new. So whatever that was, he's been playing with it, and somehow it has not affected his play.
As you went heavy early on defensive side, then you kind of had some draft picks in the offensive side, including Michael Pruitt, and also the one that the fans are really kind of excited about is Maryland wideout Stephon Diggs. So a little bit different. What's he bring to this offense with his skill set?
He is a very explosive athlete with the ball in his hands. He does have some return potential as well. I know he was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school. I actually saw him play his freshman year when I was at a game at Virginia, and he went up and down the field. And you thought this guy he's going to be something special. Then he got nagged with some injuries and probably didn't have the career that he wanted to have in college. But I think this kid, when you talk to him, he has a real chip on his shoulder, and he does have some unique ball skills once he gets the ball in his hand. And I think I saw a stat somewhere that he led all receivers at the Division I level with run-after-catch skills and the amount of yards he can get after he gets the ball in his hand.
Yeah, that's great. That's what people are looking for. They saw the highlight package, and they saw him run the quick slant, sitting on the slot position. So now all of a sudden your wide receiver position, with the addition of Mike Wallace and all the other talent that you have there, really becomes a strength of your team.
Yeah, we wanted to try to get as many weapons around Teddy as we could. We're able to add Mike Wallace, who's going to definitely give us a vertical threat down the field. and then with addition with all our with the Jarius Wrights and Cordell Patterson, I can't tell you how impressed we've been with his off-season work habits and the approach he's brought into this camp so far. And Charles Johnson, who we picked up off of Cleveland's practice squad last year by the second ball game, and how he developed, and he wasn't even here through all of training camp last year. So we feel we have a very young nucleus of playmakers at that receiver position. They're all going to grow with our young quarterback and the addition of Stephon Diggs. We're very excited to see where this group goes together.
I hear you. Well, Rick, listen, I want to thank you again for joining us today to talk about some of the draft choice in the process. And we encourage our listeners and fans to visit Vikings.com often to hear all the up-to-date news on your Minnesota Vikings. And again, Rick, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, it was fun. Thanks for having me on.
You bet.